This is Mr. Elza with your next value technique. Now last time we learned about the hatching technique. This is the hatching technique's big brother. This one uses the same technique, however it's a little bit different. It still has hatching in the name, and you still start this technique the same way you would the hatching technique. So I'm going to start with my sphere. I'm going to designate my light direction coming in from the top left once again. I'm going to start with my hatching technique down here and just start with the basic row and begin hatching those lines, making sure that they are going in the same direction, just like hatching. And you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, Mr. Elza, we already did this. I remember last time with the hatching technique, you've already done this technique, right? Well, like I said, this is hatching's big brother. And this is a little bit different. This is a little bit more sophisticated, and you will see this technique used in graphic novels as well as a lot of manga and anime black and white publications. This technique uses the hatching technique, but in order to get that value, in order to get darker, all right, we are going to use the cross hatching technique. I'm going to put a dash in there. And the way you create value with this one is not just the intensity and proximity of these lines to each other, it's now crossing over. And I know that you all have seen this technique before. It looks like a bunch of hashtags or a metal screen that you would see in a window, all right? So it does require a little bit of planning as far as where you're going to go with it. So be methodical in where you are placing those. And if you need to go back and do some erasing, just be careful because you don't want to ruin what you have already done. Now, if your lines are not connected, like in this area right here, the lines are not going all the way across. They're going, I have probably 3 or 4 sets of lines kind of as they go across, and that's okay. Because the goal for this is to practice that connecting technique. So the lines are intersecting or crossing over top of each other, essentially creating perpendicular lines. All right, so I have switched to the B pencil to give myself some darker tone in here. And you'll notice I typically always start with that vertical line going up, and then to continue the hatching, I go horizontal and I go across. This is a messier technique. All right, it's not going to be as clean as some of the other techniques that you're going to use. However, it gives you a different set of kind of textural lines, and it has a different feel to it. It's not that it's uglier, it's not that it's a worse technique, but it's different. And some people are drawn to this because it is a messier technique, but it's also very easy to do. It does take some practice in order to get those lines right and in order to get the blending right. But with the hatching and the cross-hatching technique, you get the value by keeping the lines. So you would not go, with hatching and cross-hatching, you would not go and grab the tortillon and blend it at all, because that would incorporate the blending technique, and that's a different technique from this one altogether. And that is the cross-hatching technique.